Hello and welcome to KLM Institute,
where we dive into the latest global events and discuss their potential impacts with engaging and insightful analysis. Today, we're going to discuss a situation unfolding in Romania that has implications not only for the country but for the entire European Union and NATO. Romania's political landscape has recently been shaken by the rise of far-right, pro-Russian candidate Călin Georgescu, and the extraordinary annulment of the presidential election. So, let's break this down, understand the background, the players involved, and why this matters on a global scale. Romania, as many of you know, is a crucial member of both the European Union and NATO, positioned on the eastern flank of the alliance, bordering Ukraine. With a population of around 19 million people, it plays a strategic role in the region, especially in light of Russia's ongoing aggression in Ukraine. For years, Romania has been considered a strong, reliable partner in the EU and NATO, consistently supporting Western initiatives, particularly in relation to Ukraine's sovereignty. However, this image has been shaken recently, especially with the surprise rise of Călin Georgescu. Now, Georgescu's victory in the first round of Romania's presidential election came as a shock to many. A former bureaucrat and an independent candidate, he had no major party backing and no significant political experience. What made his candidacy so surprising was his rapid rise to popularity, largely driven by a highly organized social media campaign that many observers believe was influenced by Russian support. The allegations that Russia might be behind Georgescu's sudden surge in the polls are not to be taken lightly, as they point to a broader issue facing Eastern Europe: Russia's hybrid warfare tactics. Hybrid warfare, which includes a combination of cyberattacks, disinformation, and covert support for certain political movements, has been a key strategy for Russia as it attempts to regain influence in former Soviet states and EU members. Moldova, Georgia, and even countries within the EU like Hungary and Slovakia have been seen as vulnerable to this kind of influence. Now, with Georgescu leading in Romania, fears are rising that the country could veer away from its pro-EU and pro-NATO stance, and shift toward a more pro-Russian direction. This shift could undermine the unity of the EU and NATO, especially in dealing with the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the broader Russian threat. Georgescu, a 62-year-old agricultural engineer, has made statements that suggest he is highly critical of the West, including NATO's involvement in Romania. He has even gone as far as praising Russian President Vladimir Putin as a patriot and leader. Georgescu's political views are nationalist and anti-establishment, which resonates with a segment of the Romanian population that is frustrated with the status quo. However, his stance on Russia and Ukraine is causing alarm. He believes that Romania should focus on its own problems, especially economic issues, rather than continuing to support military aid to Ukraine. But here's where things took a dramatic turn. Just before the second round of voting, Romania's constitutional court annulled the first round results. The ruling came after intelligence reports revealed significant interference in the election, specifically tied to Russian-backed social media campaigns. Over 800 TikTok accounts that had been dormant since 2016 were suddenly reactivated to support Georgescu, and more than 25,000 other accounts were promoting him just weeks before the election. The total expenditure on these campaigns was staggering, with one account spending $381,000 in a month. This raised serious concerns about the fairness of the election. The court's decision to annul the election has sparked mixed reactions within Romania. Supporters of Georgescu view the move as an attack on democracy, while others believe that it was necessary to ensure the integrity of the election process. The annulment means that Romania will have to hold a new election in a few months. However, this situation leaves Romania in a state of uncertainty, with political tensions running high. As of now, President Klaus Iohannis, who has been in office since 2014, will remain in power until the new election takes place. The annulment of Romania's presidential election is not just an internal issue, it's a global concern. Romania is an essential NATO member, and any shift in its political orientation could alter the balance in Eastern Europe. If Georgescu, with his pro-Russian views, were to win, it could embolden other EU countries with similar leanings. It would also signal to Russia that it has successfully gained a foothold in a key member state of the EU and NATO, further destabilizing the region. Romania's long history has been shaped by its location at the crossroads of major powers. In the 20th century, Romania was occupied by Soviet forces after World War II, and the country has had a complicated relationship with Russia ever since. While Romania has been a vocal supporter of NATO and the EU since the fall of communism, its geopolitical position, bordering Ukraine, Moldova, and the Black Sea, makes it vulnerable to Russian influence. This situation is not unique to Romania. Across Eastern Europe, countries like Hungary and Slovakia have seen a rise in nationalist and anti-Western sentiments, often fueled by Russian disinformation and political interference. As Russia continues its campaign to destabilize Western alliances and weaken EU cohesion, countries like Romania, which have traditionally been seen as reliable partners, are increasingly under pressure. Romania's strategic importance cannot be overstated. It shares a long border with Ukraine, and its Black Sea coastline is home to key military bases used by NATO. The Mihail Kogălniceanu Air Base, for instance, plays a critical role in NATO's efforts to monitor and respond to Russian activities in the region. If Romania were to shift toward a more neutral or pro-Russian stance, it could have a major impact on NATO's ability to maintain its influence in the region. As we look to the future, there are several key questions that need to be addressed. Will the Romanian electorate continue to support pro-EU and pro-NATO candidates, or will they lean more toward nationalist and anti-Western figures like Georgescu? And what role will Russia continue to play in shaping Romania's political future? These questions are crucial not only for Romania but for the entire European Union and NATO. At this point, the resolution lies in Romania's ability to safeguard its democratic processes. The annulment of the election, though controversial, could be seen as a necessary step to protect the integrity of Romania's electoral system. Romania's future, like that of many countries in Eastern Europe, will depend on the ability of its leaders to resist foreign influence and maintain a commitment to democratic values. Romania's political upheaval is a stark reminder of the growing challenges facing European democracies in the face of external pressures. As we watch the situation unfold, it's clear that the outcome of Romania's presidential election will have far-reaching consequences not just for Romania, but for the entire European continent. The world is watching closely as Romania prepares for its next chapter, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Thanks for tuning into KLM Institute today. Stay tuned for more updates on this developing story.